Hey folks, this is Kelani, with a new raid coming out and offering up some new content to keep us occupied for the time being. Many a player might have glanced over some of the goodies that are being piled onto the public test realm in preparation of patch 8.15 coming our way. Something else has finally been confirmed, the Heirloom upgrade for level 120. So when patch 8.1.5 launches sometime in the next few months, the leveling process for 110 to 120 should speed up quite significantly. We'll be able to make use of the large experience bonuses on heirlooms and then add that to the various other XP boosts we've been using so far in BFA, like the Warfront Potion and the Faction Assault bonuses. I think we'll end up at a point where you can level 110 to 120 in less than 6 hours if you're really pushing yourself. But there might be a bit of a roadblock here. Looking at the PTR, and remember this is PTR, so the values and numbers are subject to change, but right now on the PTR, these heirloom upgrades are pretty expensive. I don't know about you, but I thought the previous upgrade items were fairly expensive on their own, for heirlooms at any rate, especially the weapon upgrades. You have to fork over 1,000 gold per armor piece you want to upgrade to work to level 90, then another 2,000 to bump it up to level 100, 5,000 on top of that to get the heirloom up to 110, and now the level 120 upgrades currently sit at 15,000 gold. That means a single piece of heirloom armor costs you 23,000 gold in upgrades alone, with an additional 500 gold for most of these pieces to buy the heirloom itself. The 5 main slots which have bonus experience for the helm, shoulder, cloak, chest and legs, so that's 115,000 gold for a full set. For one set. Add an additional 46k on top of that if you want to use 2 rings. The rest aren't really necessarily required, and by the rest I mean trinkets and necklaces. I think that's pretty much all that's left over for the armor pieces when it comes to heirlooms right now, but that's still pretty bonkers. That's a lot of gold for a single set of heirlooms. If you want to level up various classes, well, I hope you made a lot of gold in Warlords or Legion, because if your gold sack wasn't emptying fast enough already in this expansion, these heirloom upgrades will take care of the rest of your gold for you. I don't think many people will bother with the necklaces because we get the Heart of Azeroth so early, and you might end up forgoing one slot which gets taken up by the first piece of Azerite armor you get, but the trinkets are usually pretty nice to have as well, so there's some extra gold sunk into leveling more characters. Thankfully, you can use the same trinket twice, so that's a bit of a break right there, but the weapon upgrades are even more expensive. Upgrading a single weapon to 120 will set you back 22,500 gold, and that's assuming you already upgraded it to 110 to begin with. I know I haven't with a lot of my weapons because you pick up artifact weapons in Legion very quickly too, so 110 weapons weren't really worthwhile at all until now. Catching a weapon up to 110 will be another 7,500 gold on top of that, which I guess isn't too bad if you just want the one weapon, but if you like keeping your collection fully up to date, this is going to be a very costly endeavour. Thankfully, weapons don't have bonus experience attached to them, so I would say they are still a bit of a luxury. Especially when you consider that you can't just skip over that 100 to 110 upgrade, even if you don't use the weapon for any of those levels. You still have to upgrade it to 110 first before you can buy the 120 upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised if people just ignored heirloom weapons again this expansion. Either way, if you are hoping to take advantage of the new heirloom upgrades so you can level up your alt armies a bit quicker later on down the road, just make sure you have a good chunk of gold ready to throw away in this new gold sink. Personally, I'll probably go back to wearing full cloth on anything I can get away with it. If you're a caster, it doesn't matter what armor type you're supposed to wear. You're going to be stuck with cloth if you're one of my characters. Sorry about that. At least until max level at any rate. But why are these upgrades so expensive, and why haven't they been rolled into one yet? Having to upgrade an heirloom to 90, then 100, then 110, and finally to 120, all the while throwing away large chunks of gold, feels incredibly slow and grabby. What's going to happen in the future? 130, then 140, then 150? It's gonna be hell. Why isn't there a simple upgrade to 120 item? Or better yet, why don't heirlooms just increase automatically when they decide to increase the level cap that they currently work for? We already worked for the item itself. Do we really have to throw down fistfuls of gold every expansion just to make the items work again? I feel really bad for any player coming into BFA without the hordes of gold some of us were able to obtain in Warlords and Legion. The dev team basically broke the economy in Warlords by gifting us the ability to print gold as often as we want, providing we log in to check the Facebook Garrison mission table a few times a day on however many alts we could bear to keep going. They did the same thing in Legion Legion with the mission table again, by the time we were raiding Antorus, plenty of players were raking in hundreds of thousands of gold from one activity. I know a few players who are paying for several extra accounts with their surpluses of gold just so they could have more characters for more mission tables. It was insane. Now, obviously that hasn't happened in Battle for Azeroth so far, and I've seen a lot of players kind of complain about it. There's no way to generate gold in-game right now. That isn't to do with trading or taking it from another player. You can make a fortune selling plus 10 mythic key runs every week. That's part of how I make some of my gold. You can make a fortune by selling normal, heroic, or even mythic raid runs. Early heroic runs sell for 400 or 500,000 gold on some servers. Get 4 buyers into a run, that's nearly 2 million gold split between your raiders for a few hours of smashing through bosses you don't need anymore. You can also make your gold through the auction house, gathering herbs, crafting pots, the usual stuff. All of this relies on gold passing from one player to another, but that's not really generating gold, that's just moving it around. The mission tables allowed us to generate a crazy amount of gold. That obviously put us into the position we're in the first place, but BFA doesn't really allow us to generate any gold at all, or at least very little. Emissary and World Quest rewards are fairly low. They were actually lower than Legion rewards at the start of the expansion, before they nerfed Legion rewards into the ground, which is pretty crazy. The previous expansion's World Quests rewards were better than the current expansion, but the way they decided to fix it was to nerf the previous expansion instead of bump up the current one. I think we've gone from one extreme to another, and you can tell Blizzard wants to take a lot of this gold out of the game. That's why we've got so many gold sinks in Battle for Azeroth. The Brutosaur Longboy mount was 5 million gold. I see several chaps rocking an auction house in Desert Lore every day. 5 million gold each. The frog mounts were 333,000 gold. They're a pretty crazy amount for a random vendor mount, and there's 3 of them. There's a few other mounts and pets dotted around which are heavy gold sinks too, some of which are 500,000 gold alone. The cost of repairs has gone up significantly, so has the cost of transmogging your gear. Reroll tokens will set you back quite a bit of gold every week. Azerite Reforging can set you back pretty far as well. I didn't really realize how quickly that price tag can skyrocket, and that's with the reduction on the value kind of nerfed at this point. It goes down every day instead of every 3 days, I believe it was at the start. But for our mythic Gron kill, I was swapping through my specs a few times. I went from Shadow to Holy to Disc and back to Shadow. Those swaps alone put my Azerite Reforging cost up to 40k gold, which was a bit of a shock when I wanted to swap around a trait for dungeons. Needless to say, I waited a few days before swapping traits again. That hadn't really happened to me before playing my priest a bit more seriously. I basically never swapped things around on my mage, but then again that's nothing compared to some people. I know a few of the tanks in my guild specifically tank for dungeons, and then tank for raid, and then DPS, so they're swapping back and forth constantly, and their costs got pretty high. Some method raiders went kind of to the extreme here. They were swapping traits for over 1 million gold a pop during this mythic race. Over 1 million gold for a single trait swap. Now that's a gold sink, but that's the reason why heirloom upgrades aren't automatic or readily available to everyone. That's why they're so expensive. It's another gold sink, and it feels pretty bad being such a heavy gold sink. I would rather heirlooms or heirloom upgrades come from doing a variety of content. Heck, why aren't they thrown onto the island vendor and the warfront vendor? Give us a reason to farm some of these new currencies they just introduced, and if the upgrades are available from various sources, then we can actually choose what currency to spend them on. Fancy that, we'd actually get a choice. I remember when heirlooms and upgrades weren't just sold for gold, though I guess this does work a bit better in some ways, so you can pick up the heirlooms before you reach max level if you really want to, but chances are you won't have the gold to get all of the upgrades now anyway. I don't know, it just looks daft to me. Having loom upgrades be a gold sink isn't going to affect anyone with the hordes of gold. It's not really going to remove that much, but it's going to hurt anyone who plays the game more casually or just didn't benefit hugely from milking the cow in Legion or Warlords. But hey, I guess you can always just go buy a token and get a full set of upgraded looms right there and then, which might actually be something to worry about. I hope this isn't tied into token sales as much as some people like to believe, but it definitely doesn't look great right now. I would love to see numbers relating to gold income for this expansion, both from gold being generated and being passed around, to see how much gold has come into the game since BFA started, and where the majority of gold has moved to, because I really wouldn't be surprised if more and more people are paying real money to buy tokens. I would expect those sales to skyrocket. The value of tokens in gold has dropped quite significantly, which means less people are actually buying the tokens for gold, or more people are buying the tokens for cash so they can try and sell them to get some gold in BFA. Last year you were lucky if you could spend less than 200k on NA servers to keep up with your game time, but 200k back then wasn't actually that much to earn in a month, especially if you were doing mission tables. Right now they're hovering just above 100k, and people still don't want to buy them apparently. Whether that's because they don't have the gold to spare, or if less people are interested in the game right now in general, I don't know, but either way it's probably not good for the game. But that was a pretty large tangent and I just... sorry about that, but if you want to upgrade your heirlooms to work for the 110 to 120 leveling grind, you can pick them up when patch 8.1.5 finally comes around. Armor upgrades will cost you 15k a pop, while weapon upgrades will cost you 22.5k a pop. Hopefully these values change before the patch goes live, but somehow I kinda doubt they will. So get ready with your gold sack. What do you think about the current price of these heirloom upgrades? What about the lack of gold generation and the huge gold sinks in BFA? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.